working for you. A weekly talk radio program which highlights developments of national interest and the activities of your St. Kitts Nevis government. Join host Roy Williams as he presents news, views, reports, and interviews about everything regarding the activities of the Team Unity government and the building of our communities and the development of St. Kitts Nevis. Tune in and call in to interact with your government and share your views regarding the upward forward development of your community and our beautiful Twin Island Federation. Working for you is weekly, every Wednesday live from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on ZIZ Radio, Win FM, and Sugar City FM with rebroadcast on participating stations. Working for you.
Good afternoon, and we welcome you to the first Working for You program for 2017. I want to take this opportunity to wish all of you, those of you at home and those of you in the diaspora, a happy new year, and that all your dreams may come true for this year. Today, we have a very special guest. He is Mr. Troy K. Mills. He's the Director of Culture in the Ministry of Education, Youth, Sport, and Culture. Today we are going to be discussing something that is very important to our development, and that is the fostering of our local culture. I am your host, Roy Williams, and again, I thank you for tuning in to this program, the very first one for 2017. Mr. Will Mills, I want to welcome you to this program. It is a pleasure to have you here, and I know that you have a lot to share with us today in terms of your position as the Director of Culture.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. Good afternoon to the listeners of ZIZ Radio and those who are watching it online as it is being streamed, I understand. Good afternoon to everyone. Happy New Year to you, Roy, as well as the listeners.
Right. Now, you are a very familiar voice. Of course, we hear you on Win FM all the time, and you are doing, reporting of sports and so on. Today, we are talking about culture. And of course, sports will fall, in the Ministry of Sports as well, because culture will fall under that ministry. Now, culture is a term that we hear all the time. People say, well, this is our culture. This is not our culture. In fact, society and culture go together. When we speak about culture, we are not speaking about it in a vacuum.
Correct.
We are speaking about it in a particular context, and that is society, where you have people living together and interacting within a particular geographical space. What is culture? How would you define culture?
That's why we could probably spend the whole afternoon debating and agreeing and not agreeing what culture is. But in its simplest sense, culture is the way of life of a people.
Yes.
I don't believe you could define culture any simpler than that. Mm-hmm. That in itself encompasses what you mentioned, the traditions, the religions. Actually, they have the main four pillars or blocks of culture. We have the performing arts, yes, that speak to itself, the music, the various genres, the dramas. We have the culinary arts, the eating, the drinking, the baking, the cooking, sugar cakes, what have you. The literary arts, books, authors, poetry,
yes,
the spoken word, mm-hmm, as well as the visual arts. In a sense, everything that wouldn't fall in those three categories would fall into the visual arts. It's the paintings, the sculpting, and speaking about sculpting, we have wood, we have sand, we have ice. Sculpting metal as well. We have hair braiding, hair dressing, the plaiting, the interior designing, graphic designing, videography, photography. Mm-hmm. So basically, those are the four pillars of culture. And when you look at it, the culture identifies a people in some cases of a particular time, but generally of a people. You know, well, these people, they are known by this, that is their culture, the way they do things. And of course, culture encompasses religion, politics, sports, as you mentioned, everything about us.
Yes. Now, a lot of what you mentioned have to do with cultural products. Those things that we can see and we can feel, we can smell, we
Tangible,
can taste.
intangible.
The tangible culture. What about the intangibles, our values, our ideals, for example?
That is also a critical part of us. To start with the positive element. Petitions and Division, we are known to be an extremely hospitable people. A lot of people enjoy coming here, not just for vacation, weddings and honeymoons, but for events.
Sure.
The CPL cricket, football, netball, drama groups. They want to come to St. Kitts because they know they will be warmly greeted by our people and they'll have a good time. So that is part of our culture, being excellent hosts. Of course, you can't have day without night. You can't have good without the not so good. So there are the other elements of culture which I would want to say not so positive. How safe the place is.
Yes.
And over the last few years, we've been challenged with crime. If that continues, then that will become a part of our culture. You wouldn't want to hear, you don't want to go to St. Kitts Nevis because of this spate of crime or what have you.
Right.
Because over a period of time, it will become ingrained in us, it would become a part of our culture. And that, unfortunately, is a bad part of the culture. There are good parts in terms of culture, and they are the bad parts, and that in itself is a bad part of it. But
So culture is learned behavior.
Exactly. It's handed down, and of course, culture changes.
Yes.
Because some things we may do, we would have done, our great-grandparents would have done in the past, we no longer do. And
So
there
it
are
is
some
dynamic.
changes as well. It evolves, culture evolves. Culture, good cultures, bad cultures, and culture changes.
Right. Now, you are the director of culture. What is the role and function and the structure of the Department of Culture?
In a sense, we are here to implement the policies and directives of ultimately the government of the Federation,
Yes.
who will be passed down to the Minister of Culture, who is the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Sean K. Richards. And in Cabinet and whatever in the House, they decide, well, this is the directive we want to take culture. Of course, with submissions and recommendations from myself as the director, or Mr. Stanley Knight, the Permanent Secretary. We make our recommendations, we discuss, we justify, yes, this can work, that can work, budgetary constraints, etc. Takes it to Cabinet and then lays it out. Cabinet approves, hey, this is a good thing. Mr. Minister, we want to go in this direction. Come up with something for that. And he sits with us and we work. And then once it's agreed, it is our duty now at the Department of Culture to implement those policies of the government throughout the communities, throughout the Federation.
Sure. Now, one of the biggest displays of our culture, if not the biggest display of our culture, is that of Carnival, which we have just completed. And it was a very good carnival, Sugar Mass 45. And what does Carnival mean for us? As part of our culture, what does it really mean?
That's why...
Is it just the scantily clad...
Bikini and beads?
Yes, bikini and beads, if you want to call them rhinestones or whatever. Is it just that? Is it just the street jamming? Is it just the shows, the fun and frolic and all of that? What does it really mean? Does it take on a particular meaning for us in terms of our culture?
That's why that's a very important question. I'll start by answering it this way. Unfortunately, I believe we as a people, we have the wrong idea, the wrong philosophy, the wrong concept about culture. Most of us see culture as the performing arts. And I could recall when I got this position, I heard comments like, oh, we're going to see an improvement in Calypso. Oh, the Carnival is going to be better. Oh, we're going to have better folklore. And
Sure.
in a sense, those were the general sentiments being expressed. So initially, I felt kind of good, but then when I stood back and I listened and I started to dissect and analyze, I realized, but hold on, we're not hearing anything about anything else about these. So it told me that our vision, our view of culture was very limited.
Yes.
So we at the Department of Culture, we are undergoing a program of educating the public about culture and re-educating the wrong philosophies and concepts. We will have to change that. But fast forward to the question, Carnival. It is not more a festival at the end of the year where you work hard and you save your money and you buy your costumes and you perform. And speaking of costumes, some persons, they may say it's better you don't wear any costumes because of how skimpily dressed these costumes are.
Right.
What they're covering or what they're not covering, as the case may be. But it's much more than that. It's much more than we forming a steel band and jamming on the road and the folklore. It is a time, yes, for us to relax and enjoy ourselves after a hard year's work, 355 days work or 350 as the case may be. It is a time for returning nationals to come and see their family once more, especially those who have not come. But more importantly, the economic value.
Yes.
And that's something I don't believe that we see or we understand with when it comes to culture or the creative industry. People coming in. Well, even before we start there, we're here. We're going to be spending money for the troops. The troops are going to buy materials. The restaurateurs, they're going to be expanding their business. The little man on the street with the barbecue, he's going to be making a little dollar. The taxi drivers, and all of that, not just for the locals, but the returning nationals, the visitors.
Yes.
They're going to be spending more money. Some people are planning the vacation, their honeymoons, their marriages to be here at this time for that. So there's an economic value that will definitely the country would realize for the carnival. And this is irrespective of where the carnival would be really.
Now, one of the unique things about our carnival is that it brings together the sacred and the secular. What do I mean by that? It is happening simultaneously while we celebrate the religious festival, of course, of Christmas, the Christmas season, and the carnival season. They are together. And in many ways, we can speak about culture, yes, our secular culture, our folklore, and all of this thing, but we can also speak about our religious customs or religious culture, in that Christmas time is a sacred time for many people. When they recognize the culture of giving, of sharing, that of kindness and family, and all of that sort of a thing. And it is mixed with the carnival season. And so therefore it's like we have a double whammy all at once. It's when people come home and so on. And so that religious festival highlights an important aspect of our culture as well. You mentioned earlier, the values that we should have of kindness and sharing and family togetherness and bringing the community together and respect and all of that. I just thought that I would mention that.
And you're most correct, Leslie. If you look at Christmas, break it down into two words: Christ, Mass.
Yes.
So actually, if you take, and it is being said, with the carnival period being here, and there's some discussion about carnival should be moved to some other part. But when you look at it, and if you take the Christ out of the Christmas, you actually have Mass.
Yes.
So the combination of both of them. However, even at the Department of Culture, we have a program in the spirit of Christmas, the first full week in December.
Right.
And that is meant to not only get us into that Christmas feeling, the loving and the giving and the carols and the sort of stuff, but it is also to ensure that the Christ and the Christmas element isn't really separated
Yes.
from that period, because it's very easy for that to happen as well. But that is something that we are very cautious about, and we are the department we're working with that. And in the spirit of Christmas has been going on for quite a few years
Yes. And how many years now?
now. We're going to be celebrating our 19th year this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So it was started way back when, and it is something that has been going the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It used to be 5 nights, I understand, at the point, but it's now down to 4 nights. It was 3 at a point. And it really gives the family an opportunity to come out and enjoy some Christmas music.
Sure. Now, your department, of course, is very critical in promoting national, personal, and communal development, particularly through culture. How do you do that?
I'll start by giving the structure of the Department of Culture. We are 8-man department.
Yes.
And when I say 8-man, not necessarily all males.
Okay, I know what you mean.
We have the Director of Culture. The Director has a secretary. There's a messenger driver. That's 3. We have a research and documentation unit. We have 2 employees there, the research and documentation specialist, a female, and she has an assistant. That's 5. And we have 3 specialists. The dance specialist, the music specialist, and the drumming specialist.
Okay.
Right away you note that they're in the performing arts sector. And then it goes back to what I said, well, hold on. If you said the perception is culture is performing, you at culture, you seem to be promoting it.
Yes.
What we have to do, we have to expand that. We have to get somebody on board to deal with the culinary elements of it, the visual arts elements of it, as well as the literary.
Yes.
Right now, most of it would be done in the various schools and the elements, the various organizations per se. The school teacher approached us and said, hey, we want you to do some work with us in the preschool, with the folklore. My first thought was, folklore in preschool, it's a little younger for them to learn, but then